listening to the Marketing Personalities Podcast, a podcast for growth-minded entrepreneurs that serves up valuable insight and interviews about aligning your marketing strategy with your personality type. Because here's the deal. You shouldn't have to feel fake and salesy in order to grow your business. And you no longer have to. Your marketing strategy can feel good to implement and it can work. You can attract the right clients and customers to your business and grow your profits, all while staying true to who you naturally are. So in the name of honest business growth, bring your unique talents, perspectives, and personality to the table. And join us on this week's podcast episode to discover marketing that feels good for you. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Personalities Podcast. I'm Brit Kolo, and today I'm answering a listener's question. So here's the deal. A listener reached out last week on Instagram and asked, I'm just going to read off of my Instagram DM, okay? So this is what she said. It feels great for me to show what I do and educate people. And I want to do that by getting in front of new audiences. But pitching to be on podcasts or be a guest expert or whatever form that takes doesn't feel good. So it's like there's no feel-good step needed in order to do a feel-good marketing strategy. Any thoughts or resources for this struggle? So did you hear all that? It's basically like this listener, she wants to be on podcasts. That would feel good for her. Being a guest expert, doing a training, being on stage and offering a live presentation, all of that would feel really good for her. But to book one of those speaking gigs, podcast interviews, she has to pitch herself. And that pitching doesn't feel good for her. So now she's in this pickle of where it's like, well, I know what I want to do, but getting there feels really icky. And I just don't want to do that. So can I even implement a feel-good marketing strategy if there's not really a feel-good bridge to being able to do what I want to do? Does that sound familiar? Yeah, I know it does because I see this happening all the time. And when I saw this question come through my DMs, I thought, oh my gosh, thank goodness she raised her hand and asked this question, because I know that she's not alone in this. And this is something that I want to address on the podcast. So you all can get a sense of, exactly how I would answer this question. So first of all, in the DMs, here is word for word what I told her, like literally word for word. I have it quoted in my notes here. So what I told her was, my short answer is you have two clear options. First, you could learn from an experienced PR strategist specifically on how to pitch, right? Take their recommendations, tweak them so the copy feels right for you, and hit send, like send the pitch, right? So maybe that pitch itself needs work for it to feel good for you. Learn how to do that from a PR strategist. That's option one. Or you could still learn from an experienced PR strategist, write your pitch, and then have your assistant or someone other than you send the actual email. That way, you're removed from the sending, and ideally, you don't even know what pitches have been sent and when they've been sent. So that distance from the actual sending can be quite freeing, right? And can get this feeling better for you. Now, I told this listener in the DMs, my best recommendation of who to learn PR strategy from is Brittany Lynn. And remember, you can always hire a PR strategist to do this for you if you really don't want to have your hands in it. Okay, so as you're listening to this, I've linked to Brittany Lynn. She's my go-to PR strategist. I'm learning from her. I'm in her PR prompt membership. And she's always got really great tips and really great resources and ways to get featured. And it doesn't always have to look one way. That's my favorite thing about Brittany. She's a PR strategist for big brands, which is awesome. She knows a lot of stuff. And she knows that there are lots of ways to get featured. And so she can teach you how to do that. And you can kind of tweak and adjust and find the thing that feels right for you. as you go through her teaching. So I've linked to Brittany in the show notes if you want to go check her out. Before you do that, though, before you do that, the final thing that I told this listener when she reached out and said, pitching doesn't feel good. What do I do? The final thing that I said to her was, of course, I don't think this really comes as a surprise. If you've listened to me for any amount of time, you know that it doesn't just stop there. So, of course, I'm curious, what's under the resistance to pitching for you, right? Like, what's under there? Why doesn't pitching feel good for you? Can we get under the surface a little bit to see what's happening? Which then this listener confided, right away, she was basically like, yeah, so it's fear of rejection, bothering people, and being judged. And she also added, those are the usual suspects lingering beneath the surface for me. So as soon as I saw that response come back, I thought, yeah, that's it. That's it for so many of us. I mean, fearing rejection is human. It's so very human because, and I won't go too far into this, but we as humans are built for community. We thrive in community, even the most introverted of us, right? We still, as human beings, thrive in community because our human race has survived because we were part of communities, right? Like if we were part of a group, the whole group could defend against predators, right? And so that's just built into our human existence. If we are then rejected by the group, we then become very unsafe and we could be killed by the predator, right? This is like ancient times. We're no longer in ancient times, but this is the kind of stuff that, our lizard brain back there, our regular programming brain, this is what it feeds off of. And so, of course, we have fear of rejection. Like, of course we do. This is underneath most of our PR woes and most of our marketing problems, really. I mean, this is at the core of a lot of it. And it's holding so many of us. I'm grouping myself in this too, because I definitely am not through this either. It's definitely holding so many of us back. So if you relate to this, okay, pitching doesn't feel good because I'm scared of rejection thing, listen up. All right. This is really what this episode is about. Because I could talk about PR strategy all day. I could bring Brittany on and talk about it. And I probably will in the future because I'm sure you want to learn more from her or anybody that does PR strategy. But the purpose of this episode is not to teach you how to do PR strategy. That is not my goal here. My goal here is to shine a light on this fear of rejection so we can take care of it. So I will not be the one to tell you exactly how to get over the fear of rejection. I have not mastered this myself. I don't even know that humans can master this totally. Maybe it's always there. I'm not sure because it is so ingrained in our human experience. The one thing I do know that usually works for me is aligning and connecting back into my why and the mission I'm on. When I plug back into that, sending that pitch email seems kind of like a no-brainer. And I'll be damned if I let the recipient of that pitch email stand in my way of getting my message and my mission out there. Right? So, that's me. And that's a very diplomat tribe way of approaching this issue, right? We're so, as diplomats, and if you're new to this, let me just kind of catch you up to speed here. The diplomat tribe is made up of 4 personality types: INFJ, INFP, ENFJ, and ENFP. I'm an ENFJ, and so I'm in the diplomat tribe. So if you're also in the diplomat tribe, we're so mission driven. So if we can just tap back into the mission, realign with it, we can release the baggage we're carrying around our fear of rejection and just do the dang thing, right? So that's the diplomat tribe. Now, how about the analyst tribe? That's INTJ, INTP, ENTJ, and ENTP. For analysts struggling with this, it might be helpful to take a look at your strategy again. Remember how crucial it is to book that gig or book that PR feature, and that could catapult you into action regardless of the fear. Okay. Now, for the Sentinel tribe, that is ISTJ, ISFJ, ESTJ, and ESFJ. Sentinels realign and connect with the person you most want to serve. Ask yourself, will the most important people in your life benefit from you booking this PR feature? Yes. If the answer is yes, that might be just what you needed to remember to send that pitch and kind of just get over that hurdle. And for explorers, the Explorer tribe, those are ISTP, ISFP, ESTP, and ESFP. Try looking at this as an experiment. Give yourself a certain number of pitches to send out, say 5 pitches or 10 pitches, whatever. Hit send and be willing to just see what happens. If you can do things in batches, you might not get hung up on the one that's freaking you out the most, right? So hopefully those little tidbits into how your personality type or personality tribe could move, through this, over it, and move into some action. Hopefully that's helpful. And this is a big and, guys, and I also know there's more to this. There's more to this because regardless of your personality type, fear of rejection is a very real thing. That, sure, you could push through this time, but pushing through something and healing something are two very different things. To heal your fear of rejection and truly let it be a thing of the past, something that no longer hinders you, something that you no longer have to just grit your teeth and get through, that brings us to a much bigger conversation, right? And I don't have the answer to this one. I don't. I have some ideas and some journeying of my own I've done in this area, but instead of trying to come up with answers for you, I'd really rather direct your attention to a few resources that I've found to be helpful when it comes to releasing my fear of rejection. All right. So I've got 3 resources. These are like the top ones. And I've definitely dug into this for myself in many directions, but I really tried to distill this down to, okay, if I think back on my journey through this, what are some of the top, most standout, biggest takeaway, most transformative resources that I tapped into? And I've distilled it down to 3, like just 3 that really kicked me, right? Like kicked me like, okay, I can not only jump over the hurdle of fear of rejection, but I can actually heal it. So the first one is a blog post written by Rachel of Clarity on Fire. The blog post is titled, "Are you tired of pretending to be someone you're not?" And of course, I've linked to the blog post in the show notes. It's a really quick read. Now, in this blog post, you'll find some fresh, new encouragement to be yourself, which I'm always here for that, right? And you'll learn how to plan for rejection as opposed to avoiding it, which might be a little scary, but it is just part of the game. And so if we can plan for it, how can we plan for it so we can heal the fear and stop avoiding it, right? The second resource that I want to invite you to tap into is another great blog post from Clarity on Fire. I've had Rachel and Kristen, the 2 co-founders of Clarity on Fire, on the podcast before. So if you just want to search for that, I'll link to their specific episodes in the show notes. But I get so much from how they speak about this life and career and business stuff that they just stand out to me. So the second blog post that I want to share with you this one is written by Kristen. It's titled, "How to Bounce Back from Any Rejection." So this one was especially helpful to me as it guided me to imagine what it would be like to be rejected, like really take my mind there and see that really it wasn't as big of a deal as my very loud inner critic was making it out to be. So again, facing that rejection rather than trying to skirt around it. And finally, the third resource, which, oh man, this is so good. It's a classic TED Talk. It's been around for years. I remember watching it way back. I mean, I want to say probably, I think it was before I started my business. So it's been years the first time I watched it. And I've watched it several times since because every time I watch it, it just fires me up. It's Jia Zhang's TED Talk, What I Learned from 100 Days of Rejection. Have you watched this before? So here's the real quick synopsis. Jia goes on this quest to be rejected every single day for 100 days because he realized that he was scared of being rejected. And to heal that fear, he basically just ran into the fire of rejection and tried to get rejected for 100 days straight. Oh my gosh, terrifying, right? But what he discovered and what you'll learn from watching the entire TED Talk, which it'll only take you about 15 minutes. And oh my goodness, it's so, so powerful. I've linked to it in the show notes. So go watch that ASAP if you ask me. What he found was that rejection can be much less painful than we think it's going to be. And this is the kicker, that the fear of rejection is much more destructive than we even realize. Okay. So those three resources, the 2 blog posts from Kristen and Rachel of Clarity on Fire and that TED Talk, I bring those to you because I just want to invite you to take a closer look into this for yourself because we're all on different journeys here around the fear of rejection. And I just invite you to take a couple steps into that journey for yourself, right? So I linked to all three of those resources in the show notes. I also linked to Brittany Lynn's PR strategy membership that I'm a part of and her new course, because I think that that's a really great place if you want to learn more about PR strategy and find that feel good, PR pitching yourself way. That could be a really great place to learn more about effective PR strategy. And I just want to land here to bring this all into focus. If it feels good to do speaking gigs and book podcast interviews and be featured on others' blogs and platforms, we've got to get you doing more of that feel good stuff because when you feel good, your audience feels good, right? And those feel good activities are what will grow your company, period. So truly, this fear of rejection needs to be addressed and healed so you can step into your next level of growth. Okay? So after all of this, I can't wait to watch you heal this and grow because of the healing. And, I invite you, if you'd like to talk more about this, because I know this is, this doesn't really feel like a quote unquote marketing topic, but it totally is. It is underneath all of our marketing problems. It really is. And if you're new to me, this might, be a surprise. If you're not new to me, it probably won't be. This is the stuff I really enjoy. Like we can talk about marketing strategy all day long and we totally do. And when I'm in conversation with people in my Instagram DMs or in a strategy check session or in a half-day intensive, anytime I'm actually speaking with you and having a conversation with you, it's sure, like we talk about the surface level marketing, but we always dig deeper into, okay, what's driving this? Why? Like, why are we doing this? Does this actually feel good for you? Or does this feel like something that you just should be doing and that's why you're doing it, right? It's always that deeper stuff. So that's what I'm here for, right? So if you want to talk more about this, message me on Instagram at Marketing Personalities. That's the best place to reach me. And I'll catch you back here next week with a super exciting episode, the 2020 Planning Guide episode. Here's what's happening. I'm going to be unveiling the best way to plan your year based on your personality type. And this is so exciting, I'm going to be sharing the best physical planners to use based on your personality type. So if you've been getting all those Facebook and Instagram ads about the full focus planner and the 5-minute journal and the day designer and the simplified planners and all the other planners out there in the world. And don't even get me started on the Target planner aisle. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, if that's you, don't worry. I will put an end to that madness and show you what planner is best for you based on your personality type. So that's coming at you next week. I'll talk to you then. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Marketing Personalities Podcast. Now it's time to connect your marketing strategy to your personality type. Go to marketingpersonalities.com/MPP to download your marketing personality type full report. Use the code MPP at checkout to get $10 off. And that's a super special code for podcast listeners as a way to say thank you for being here. In your full report, you'll learn about your personality type, how it relates to the work you do, what your best marketing strategy includes so you can start implementing it right away, what your worst marketing strategy includes so you can avoid it, and so much more. Go to marketingpersonalities.com/MPP to get your full report and use the code MPP at checkout to receive $10 off your purchase. And one more thing before you skip on to the next podcast. Would you please share this episode with your entrepreneur friends who also need to feel good about their marketing strategies? Take a quick screenshot of your podcast app right now and share it out via text, Facebook, or my favorite, Instagram. Remember to tag me at Marketing Personalities in the photo so I can be sure to send you a huge high five and thank you for sharing the love. This podcast is edited and produced by the Podcast Engineers. They're pretty great, and you can find them at podcastengineers.com. That's all for now. Thanks as always for listening, and I'll catch you back here next week on the Marketing Personalities Podcast. Love ya. Bye.